Hello and welcome back to Tiny Desk Knitting with Emma. It's been a minute. I have had a very busy summer and I needed to take a break. And it was one of those things where, I went from one every week to like every 2 weeks for a while, but it was one of those things where like, because I didn't really plan to take a break, I went until my body forced me to take a break. Just not because I didn't want to record or I like didn't have anything to share. I just was like so busy that it just didn't really there was no time to be doing anything other than what I was doing. So, and that was just because I was traveling a lot mostly, which I probably talked about like last time I was here. I had just like a string of like 6 weekends in a row in May and June where I had something to do. Either like my parents were visiting or I was going somewhere. Mostly I was going somewhere. And then I actually went on vacation for like 3 weeks. I went to Ontario to visit my aunt, and we stayed at her lake house for, my mom and I stayed at her lake house for like 5 or 6 days, and then we were in Toronto, which is where I went to college, for those of you who are new-ish. And then I went to Vermont for a week. And so I told myself, okay, it was kind of just like a reset because I was just like going at 16,000 miles an hour and I needed to be going at a regular pace of like 25 miles an hour all the time instead of, engines revving and getting nowhere, which is kind of what was happening. So I told myself when I got back, okay, 1 week and then you have to record. So it's now been a week, so I'm recording and I'm very happy to be back. And it feels good. So when I was home, I actually got to go in Vermont. I got to go visit the Woolly Thistle, which was so much fun. I'd never actually been to the warehouse because for those of you who don't know, the Woolly Thistle is an online retailer based in New Hampshire. I would be surprised if a lot of you didn't know who the Woolly Thistle was because I think that's how most people find me. But if you haven't heard of them, please click on the links that will be appearing up there and go check them out. Very exciting. They have a new affiliate program. So you can actually click on my link here and then that's very helpful for me because then I get a cut because I referred you to them, which is exciting. But I actually went to visit, I've met Corinne and Maggie and many of the other folks there in person because we go to Rhinebeck together, but I'd never been there. So I got to go see the warehouse, and you probably, if you follow the Woolly Thistle, saw that I was on the Shopcast last Friday, which was so much fun. We just had like the best time ever. So that was really wonderful. And at some point in the next few weeks, I will be talking about my plans for the sweater cowl. If you are not aware, the Woolly Thistle's having a sweater cowl that starts at the end of August. So this will be going up on the first day of August, so at the end of the month. So maybe next episode, or depends on how often I'm gonna end up recording. But I will talk about my plans for that sweater. It's not a very like seasonal fall winter sweater plan. It's like for next summer, which is like typical me. Although fall here is like very warm. It's not like cold autumn-y kind of weather here until like November. So maybe I'll be able to wear it once I finish it. But yeah, okay. So I haven't stopped knitting and spinning. But I'm not gonna just like share with you absolutely everything I did in the last like 6 or 8 weeks or however long it's been since I've recorded. But I am going to show you a few things, based on what was readily available to me to grab before recording this morning. So I would like to share with you first my finished June top, which I just cast on like, if you're watching this on Tuesday, I cast on a week ago because I was going to Oppenheimer, which is a 3-hour-long movie, and I needed some vanilla knitting. So this is just like a tank top by Petite Knits. It's called the June top, as I said. I knitted it in my hand spun. It's designed, it's actually really warm in here, so I'm gonna take this off. It's designed for, I think DK weight-ish yarn. She also has like a light version for fingering weight, which is like, so the original version is like a 20 stitches over 4 inches gauge, and then the lighter version is 28 stitches over 4 inches gauge. I think this is definitely like a sport fingering weight yarn, and I did it at the looser gauge because I knew I had like 500 yards in this hand spun skein, and it was about 120 grams, so that's like a typical fingering weight gauge, or weight to yards ratio. Although I think this is like Targhee or Rambouillet. This is some kind of, it was a club fiber from, I think, Nest Fiber. And I think it was the Andromeda colorway that came at the end of December, maybe? Yeah, I can't remember if I spun this on Thelma or Louise. So Thelma, for those of you who are not crazy or and name your wheels, Thelma is my real spinning wheel. It's a Shack Matchless that's older than I am. And the Louise is my electric eel e-spinner. And I mostly have been spinning on my electric spinner recently just because it's portable. I can spin on the couch, etc. I've also just been like lazy and not gotten a new drive band for Thelma. I had a pack of drive bands from Shacked, but I need to like get a giant thing of like whatever twine I'm gonna end up using or cotton string. If any of you have wheels, if you're watching this and you have a wheel and you buy like a certain type of string for your drive bands, please let me know in the comments. I'm gonna just go to the Shacked Facebook group at some, or Ravelry group at some point and like read some of the threads because I'm sure people are talking about it there. But that's like more effort. And I have to like sit down and go to Ravelry and go to a forum page in a Shacked group, which might take like forever to find because Ravelry sometimes is annoying. But okay, I've just been like ranting about stuff. I love this top. I just finished it. It took me like, I did this in like 4 days. Like it was like, it just flew. The body was really fast. And then you separate the back and the front, you work them separately. But you don't actually have to do that much work past the split because obviously it's a low scoop neck. I love it. I might shorten the straps a little bit just with, you know, just stitch them kind of together so it's a little bit higher up. Just because it grew a little bit when I blocked it, but I really like it. And I might make a version with like thicker straps. I don't know. I'm gonna workshop this because I want 10 of them. I want one in every color. And it was a really good project for handspun. So it looks like a sunset. Anyway, I really like it and I'm pleased. So that was last week's knitting. This just, I wasn't even gonna share this and then I saw it outside this morning because I blocked it yesterday and it's dry. So this is my finished inclinations cowl. It's very odd shape because I have yet to sew it together. It's like a giant bandana cowl and it eventually, these two pieces, eventually as in like later today, hopefully these two pieces are gonna get seamed together. So it's like, it kind of goes over your, pops over your head like this. These pieces will get seamed. And then this just kind of like, so it's just like a shawl that's really easy to wear because you don't have to like deal with the tails because it's seamed up the back. This is the Inclinations Cowl by Andrea Mowry. She also has a shawl version of this. It's a half fisherman's rib pattern. If you are unaware of what half fisherman's rib is, it's a type of tuck stitch, which is similar to like brioche is in the tuck stitch family. I don't knit brioche because I haven't yet at least like gone down a brioche rabbit hole because I knit through the back loops. And I think that figuring brioche out for my own style of knitting is just going to be like a little bit more of a project than I feel like doing right now. So in any case, this was a really fun project and I used my hand spun. So I used 2 colors. This is actually designed to be done with 2 colors of spin cycle dyed in the wool. I used 1 solid color, which is teal. So you can see the teal throughout, obviously is tying it together. And then I used 1 barber pole skein. Actually, I ended up using 2 barber pole skeins that were very similar. So this started here with a tiny little bit and then it went out this way. And so you can kind of tell, I mean, some of the bottom, it was like from like here down, that was a different skein. It's basically impossible to tell, which is fun. There's a little bit of like a lighter green and sagey kind of colors down here, but it didn't matter to me. I love it. I just think it's really funky and fun. Actually, I think this is where I started the new, maybe even here. There's a good amount of it. You can't really tell. It's pretty seamless. I love it. I think it's fun. I'm really excited to wear this. If you have ever seen me with glasses on there, these are my glasses. They're teal. So to me, teal is a neutral. I make a lot of things in teal because they go with my glasses. So yeah, I love this. If you just want to see another like up close. I love this so much. The main color was the John Arbin Harvest Hues teal. I can't remember what that is actually called, but I will link it in the show notes in the description box. If you would like to purchase a skein, you can get fingering weight or worsted weight of John Arbon Harvest Hues, or you can get the top and spin it yourself. Harvest Hues is a line from John Arbon, and for those of you who don't know this, John Arbon is a mill in Devon, England, and it's if you're a knitter, you've probably heard of like Devonia or like Exmoor Sock. Those are like their main bases, I think, that are available commercially. Sometimes Yarnadelic you can get other places, but they have several lines of yarn that are not quite so widely distributed. I think Appledore has kind of more recently made its way to like the Woolly Thistle. If you're up here somewhere, there will be like a link to the John Arbon page of the Woolly Thistle if you want to go check out what you can get from them. You can order from John Arbon. When I buy tops, I just order them from John Arbon Textiles, and I just it's a lot less expensive if you buy the tops, just so you know. But the Harvest Hues line is 65% merino, like dyed merino, and then 35% Swartbless, which is like a natural, very dark brown. So they comb it. I mean, it's a worsted spinning mill, so they comb everything together in a carding machine, and then they spin it from that. And so the merino, the rainbow colored merino, they use a single color for the Harvest Hues, and then they mix it with the Swartbless. And so it's like kind of a murkier, darker, like whatever the main color is. It's really fun. I really, really like that line, and it's nice to spin. So that was actually the first really successful skein I spun on my e-spinner, Louise, the electric eel wheel. If you're wondering, if you want more information about the electric wheel I have, there will be a link to it in the show notes. If you're looking to get into spinning, I would recommend starting with this just because the price point is a lot more friendly for most new spinners than a wheel. Also, it doesn't take up as much space in your house, and you can get replacement parts for it really easily. The guy who created the electric eel wheel, his name is Maurice. He's very cool. He's constantly developing new products. It's a great thing. I really like my wheel, and I know that you can get a battery for it. I don't have one, but one of my spinning friends, Sarah, she has a battery, and she started using it this summer, and she says it works great. So, and it lasts for a long time, so she can just bring the spinner without the cord attached, and she can just spin wherever she is. So I am gonna ask her where she got that, and I'm gonna get one, and then I will review it for everyone at home. Okay, I was like, okay, I'm gonna record for like half an hour, and now it's been 12 minutes, and I've only shown you like 2 things. Okay, I'm mostly gonna talk about Fair Isle stuff today because I don't need an excuse, this is my channel. Okay, so I knitted a Flowers of Fort Rose hat, which is a pattern from Corinne, who owns the Woolly Thistle, kind of recently, and Rama, this is Lamelgarn. So Rama has a line, again, somewhere up here will be a link to Lamelgarn from the Woolly Thistle, and it's made by Rama, so it's Norwegian, but it's lamb's wool, so it's very soft, and it's thinner than Finnelgarn. So it has basically the same specs, let's just say specs, as Jameson Smith 2-ply jumper weight or Jameson's of Shetland. It's just not made from Shetland wool, but it's similar like yardage and weight, and it feels very similar in the hand, so they go really well together in color work, as you will see in my next thing I'm going to show you. So I really, really liked this light gray color of Lamelgarn. It's color 12 because it's not white, and it's a cool gray, it's not a warm gray, and I often use warmer colors for my backgrounds of hats, so I just kind of like enjoy mixing it up a little bit. And yeah, I will put the color numbers of this hat in the description box if you'd like to recreate it. I knit this tighter than the gauge stated in the pattern because I wanted it to fit a little more snugly. So this is more of a like 30 stitches over 4 inches, maybe 32 stitches over 4 inches Fair Isle gauge. And so I just meant I had to add a length to the pattern. I knitted the same width, the same number of stitches in the round. I just added 2 more flowers. And Corinne gives this direction in the pattern. She says if it's not long enough by the time you get to the smaller decrease rounds at the top, just knit 2 more flowers, which I did. I followed the pattern exactly, so I used the same colors. So if you wanted more variety, you could knit like 1, 2, 3, 4 all in different colors and then go back. But I love it. I think it's really cute, and it fits great. So it covers my ears. I actually knitted the whole hat and then I had to go back because it was just too small. But I think it's fun. It's nice. So this is a great pattern. It's called the Flowers of Fort Rose hat from the Woolly Thistle. Corinne Tomlinson designed this. Again, maybe I'll link to kits. They have kits for this, I think. Yeah, at the Woolly Thistle. So somewhere up there will be a link to kits that you can buy. And then I was on a fun kick, and just one morning I was like, I need to knit another Shetland hat, and I have the Shetland Wool Week pattern for this year, which is called the Bugafleur Beanie. So I'm gonna knit that, and I love that light gray Rama color, and I need to knit it in blues. These things all just like occurred to me in the flash of an instant while I was knitting one morning at like an unhinged hour of like, 6:30 a.m. or something. And I said, I need to do this. And I loved this green so much that came from the Rama Lemelgarn line that I decided I'm gonna use it in a variety of other things. And so as a Fair Isle pop, like I used to use this like bright lipstick pink, and now I've transferred my allegiances to this green. Maybe I'll go back to pink someday. But this has got a bunch of colors here of mostly Jamieson and Smith. The background color is that Rama Lemelgarn in color 12, and then this green is also the Rama Lemelgarn in a color that I will disclose in the show notes because I can't remember what it is off the top of my head. And the same goes for these colorways. I'll put this on Ravelry. I'll make a project page on Ravelry so you can check out more details if you want. But this is I think like 121, this purple. And then I'm not positive, do not quote me on that, look in the show notes. And then I have a darker teal, and then a medium blue, and then the lighter blue. And I love this. I haven't trimmed the ends, so I'm just gonna, there we go. I really like this, it's a good fit, it covers my ears. Yeah, my grandmother asked me to knit her a new hat because the one that I made for her, there was a Shetland hat like this, but it was not quite as long, it didn't cover her ears. So I might make another one of these Bugafleur beanies for my Baba because she lives in a really cold place. But I love this, and I had a really good time knitting it, and I'm back on the Shetland hat. It's in my brain that I need to knit 1,000 of them. So that being said, here are some Shetland colorways that I like. And I put these together, and like for the life of me can't super remember which ones go with which. But I had a notebook that I was looking at the other day that had it's like where I write my knitting notes, and I like a year ago had written down some possible color combinations for Shetland hats. It smells so good. This is a cone. This is a Jamieson and Smith cone of 2006. It's not obviously on the cone anymore, that I got a couple of years ago, almost 3 years ago now, when I started buying cones. And this is the last, 200 grams, 150 grams. The cones are 500 grams, but this is Jamieson and Smith Jumper Weight Supreme in 2006. So I have a variety of colors here that I have grabbed, and I'm not really sure which ones go with which. But I don't know, Monica and I had a conversation because I sent her some pictures, and she said she thinks I should swap this purple out for a darker, more like pure, like bluer purple, and I agree. So I don't know, I think it was like these 4 with this. This is hard to see. The blue is hard to see. This is also Jumper Weight Supreme in 2005. I used to have a cone of this, but I used all of it because it's the best. It's Shetland black. It's such a nice, like, dark brown. And then it says 9097 Jamieson Smith 2-ply jumper weight, which is kind of a tomatoey red. This one's FC12 mix. And then this is Jamieson and Smith, or Jamieson's Shetland Spindrift and Gentian, which is a color that my brother got me and he liked the color name because he once dyed he had this like leather jacket that he got from this engineering program he was in. If you're Canadian, he went to Queen's Engineering. He didn't finish there because it was COVID and he came back home, but he got the jacket when he was there for his first year, and he dyed it with gentian, so to make it purple. So he got me he got me 2 of these because he liked the name. But I think this is a nice combo. It's kind of like autumny without being too aggressively about foliage. Yeah, and I think maybe it was like, I mean, I like these three because they're all heathered. Now I'm looking at it. I need to look at the pictures. I took pictures, but I can't look at the pictures right now because they're on my phone, which I'm using to record. But it was something like, I like these together. This would need a pop, but I'm not sure what. Maybe the red. Maybe that bright green. I probably planned to use the bright green. Actually, that kind of looks good. These 4. Yeah, I like that. I don't know, we'll see. These 4 are fun because these are all kind of muted. Again, like fall. These just remind me of fall, and then you're getting a pop because the leaves are bright red. Some places, like in Vermont, where the whole state looks like it's on fire, but not in a bad way, because obviously there's wildfires, and now that has a really bad connotation. Sorry, I'm probably talking too fast and I'm mumbling because I haven't done this in a while. And it's Monday, so, and I had a busy weekend. Yeah, so I almost did that this morning, but I was like, no, stop, don't cast on. No, you have too many projects, in a very tired and weak way, which means I'm probably gonna cast one on later. We'll see, I don't know. I'm very intentionally like trying to stay home more and just like knit and chill, because again, life has just been like too crazy, and I'm one of those people who, like, if someone's like, wanna go do this, I'm like, yeah. Even if it's in 3 days or if it's right now or whenever, I'm just like, yeah, let's go do it. Because I'm social and I like people. I am actually an introvert, and this really tires me out without me thinking much about it. So I am trying to intentionally stay home more often or do more chill activities, like going to the movies, which is a place I can knit. So I'm gonna put these away. Okay, 21 minutes, that's not bad. I only have one more thing to talk about. So maybe this, what is in here? Oh no, I have 2 more things to talk about, just kidding. This is gonna be not an hour, but it might be 10 more minutes. Okay, I wanna talk about my Norwegian cardigan because it's been a while since I have discussed it, and I have made significant progress. I hadn't made a lot of progress, even like in the last few episodes I was recording, just because I was knitting other stuff. But when I went to the lake, I decided to bring like only 3 or 4 projects. One of them was the inclinations cowl. One of them was this. I brought some sock projects. That was basically it, because I was like, if I don't bring as much stuff, I have to knit the things that I bring. So one of the things I did was kind of like an obsessive, like, you know, if you're a knitter, you just kind of get into the obsessive mindset, like, I need to finish this and I don't care how long it takes or how much my hands hurt. That's not a great way to be. I'm trying to take breaks more often. But I finished the body of this, which is so much fun. Oh my gosh. I shared this on the Shopcast. If you watched the Woolly Thistle Shopcast last week, you would have seen this. But I had this thing going on with the sleeves where I didn't do any of this patterning at the top of the sleeve. I just started with the lace patterning, and then I got like a couple inches in and I was like, no, I don't like it. It needs more patterning. So I'm just gonna hold this up so you can see the yoke, which I love. I'm not sure if the last time I showed this, I was to the yoke split yet. I think I was, because I was like, I need to rip it back and do this other thing. So I did that. And I finished the yoke, as you can see. I think I'm gonna need to reknit the collar because I picked up too many stitches just along this knitted edge here. But that's fine, that's not a big deal. I did cut open the arm and the neck steeks just because I needed to be able to try it on, and I needed to pick up the stitches before I cut the steeks. So I did all of that. So you can see this one's on barber cords. Here's my steek. I did not secure this steek. It did not unravel. This is knitted in Jamieson & Smith 2-ply jumper weight in 81, which if you watched the Shopcast, you will see that Maggie of the Woolly Thistle and I have a deep shared love for. It smells really good. It smells like lanolin and spinning oil, and it's great. Yeah, I've like gone down to like half of this cone because I've knitted so much of this. So Janus 2-ply in 81, and then this is Rama Lamel Garn in 12, the same color as the background of these 2 hats. Again, it works great with Janus. If you're wondering about other yarns you can use in Fair Isle color work, especially if you want to get a 50-gram ball of something, because sometimes like a hat takes more than 25 grams of the main body color if you're just doing one background color. So that's a good yarn to get, the Rama Lamel Garn, if you need, like, if you want to make hats or something with like a grab bag of Janus that you might have gotten for Black Friday, or you just have lots of colors of fingering weight yarn that you looking to knit some Shetland hats with or anything else. I really like the Ramallah linolgarn. And I blocked the body because I always block before I cut my steeks open. So I blocked this and it turned out great. It's really soft. The yarns play well together, as Monica would say. I didn't cut the front steek open yet because I haven't picked up for the button bands. And I did get some pewter buttons when I was in Toronto. My mom and I did a little textile day out, mostly to get fabric for her. She's been on a sewing kick, but we went to a place that had buttons, and so I also got some buttons. And yeah, so I switched background colors just for the yoke here, went back to the top. I had some excellent advice from my artist friend Sarah. Some of you may know who she is because she's been on my channel before. She also spins. And I was like, Sarah, you have an art degree, please help me. What should I do for the background color? And she was very wise and said, I think you need to go back to the background color a little bit for the top just to balance it out. And then I decided to do just the background color here on the sleeve. I didn't mirror it from like this. I did the bigger zigzag, which is here. And then I did this guy, which is the one here. And then I went back to the very first one. So I knotted to the yoke, but I didn't recreate any specific bands in the yoke. And I think this is the right amount of like patterning to do before I went back into the lice. So I am now doing sleeve decreases, as you can see, just kind of chugging away on this. I find the lice patterning a little bit more boring. The color work is just a lot more fun. Obviously this is partially color work. Every other round is color work, but I tend to work on this if I'm like having a knit night with Monica or something, doing something social. I can't really bring this around to any like other events because we usually are like outside, like a pub trivia or something. And it's been, last week was really hot. It hasn't been quite as hot this week or like the past 2 days. So I'm hoping, I think the high is going back to like 85, but yeah, last week it was like 100 degrees every day. So that was rough. But yeah, I went to Frederick on Saturday with the hopes that it would be like 10 degrees cooler, and it super wasn't, but I did have a nice visit to Magpie. So that was nice. I went with one of my friends who's a new knitter, and we had a great time. She needed to get some needles and just wanted to see like the most beautiful yarn store in the world. And I got some needles as well, and I had a nice time, but it was hot. So yeah, I also went to a baseball game this weekend. It was hot. But yeah, so I really like this. If you're wondering, this is the back, by the way, how I designed this. This is not a pattern. I know people will ask me in the comments, what's the pattern? This is not a pattern. I designed this myself using Sheila McGregor's book, Traditional Scandinavian Knitting, which I will link in the show notes. I would normally have it with me, but it's upstairs and I forgot. So I'll link this in the show notes. I used my brain and gauge math to figure out how many stitches in the round I wanted. But like, if you're kind of looking to get into designing your own pieces like this, I would recommend by starting with a base pattern. There's one called Raga, R-A-G-A. I'll link it in the show notes. I think it's by Violet McQuaid. She designed it for Jamison's of Shetland. It's a Spindrift. Well, she designed it for the company, so they knitted it in that. And it's just a pullover. Like it's a men's pullover, but it's just like unisex pullover that you can find. It doesn't have a very big size range is one thing I will say about it. But if your size is within that, you can use something like that and then just take their, the numbers and then put your own patterns in it. Obviously be careful that the patterns that you're choosing, like the bands of Fair Isle, have the same horizontal, like have a horizontal count of something that like fits is a multiple of that or a factor of that total number. Sorry, math words. Like if you have 288 stitches, for instance, in your main body, that's a good number because it's divisible by 24, which means, and 32, I think. So it means you could have like a 32 stitch repeat or a 24 stitch repeat or a 6 stitch repeat or a 12 stitch repeat or anything like that. And it will fit horizontally around the sweater in a neat way. You won't have any extras. There won't be any remainder stitches. But I digress. I'm going to keep working on this sleeve. I'm really trying to get some of my big projects done. Once this is done, I'm going to go back to the Long Road cardigan, which is a big cabled cardigan that I'm knitting with a hood out of Brooklyn Tweed Shelter. It's green. Otherwise, I don't really know how to describe it because I didn't bring it with me to show you because I haven't worked on it in like 4 months. So that'll be fun. I'm gonna go back to that. I'm just trying to get my big projects out of the way so that I only have like one big project on the needles at a time. I really am trying to do better about monogamy, as Corinne and Maggie like to tease me. For me, monogamy is having like 3 or 4 whips that I'm working on continuously. I have a very incorrect definition of monogamy when it comes to knitting. So, but yeah, I'm trying to kind of have like, I'm okay with having smaller whips because I can usually bang them out in a few days, or accessories or something, just because they're smaller and they don't take up space, including in my head, which like it can be overwhelming and we don't talk enough about that. But yeah, so that's kind of on the front burner right now. And then when that's done, I'm going to go back to the long road cardigan and try and get that done in a few weeks. Because I can get a big project done in a few weeks if I just don't work on other stuff. It's just like things distract me. So I'm trying to be a little bit more intentional. And you know, when we get busy, which I am now, much busier than I was kind of during the main part of COVID, it was really like January when my life really picked up because I started singing at St. Paul's. Yes, for those of you who don't know me or how are new, again, I'm a church musician, so I took kind of a 3-year sabbatical because of COVID, and then I went back to singing professionally at a church in Washington, D.C. So it's a commute, and it's, you know, takes up time because it's a big job. So it just means I have less time to knit and record mostly. But it is the greatest joy of my life. I love singing church music more than anything, including knitting. So, and have a lovely community there, and I'm very lucky. So I do that now, and that's why I'm here with you less often. But thank you all for appreciating that. I have a full life and I prioritize a lot of things, and I want to be here as well. So I'm trying to kind of figure out how to organize myself so that that can happen a little bit more. And yeah, so yeah, it's August now. Well, right now it's the last day of July, but it'll be August when you see this. So I am planning to be at Rhinebeck. If you are wondering, I'll probably be there with the Woolly Thistle team. I'm really looking forward to it, which means I'll probably also be at Wool and Folk, which, if you don't know, is the day before Rhinebeck and is kind of a smaller event with more indie dyers and not like fleece that you can buy. Although I should tell you, speaking of fleece, my friend Molly and I bought fleece at Maryland Sheep and Wool, and she is processing this fleece. She's actually processing it. She's cleaning it with soap wort, which is super cool. Maybe at some point I'll have her on and we can talk about it. That'd be really fun. And she has a bunch for me, so I'm gonna dye a bunch of it. The sheep's name is Archie. Very exciting. She's already called Archie's human mother and agreed to buy Archie's clip for next year, which is really exciting. I think he's a Romeldale CVM sheep. He might be mixed with Romney, like crossbred. I can't remember. But I have spun a skein of Archie. I will share that. And maybe next time, this will give me a reason to spin the other bit. So Molly gave me a bag of the first stuff she processed, and I spun like half of it, and then white. It's just white. I mean, it's like a creamish color. And then I dyed half of it teal, and I haven't spun that yet. I spun a little bit actually for my second skein of yarn that went into this. There's a little bit of Archie in this, but Archie, I have some teal Archie, so that will be, maybe I'll spin that and I'll show you, because I'd like to design something that uses my natural colored Archie wool and then my dyed teal. And I'm gonna dye some of it for Molly, I'm gonna dye some of it for me. I will tell you all about Archie. There will be an episode titled All About Archie because it's fun. But yeah, for now, that's kind of what's going on. And my life has just been like more busy, but it's been really fun. So I'm gonna not just sit here and ramble about my life because I've already interspersed that in. But yeah, it was much needed, like 3 weeks not here, because I really just needed to like decompress and not again be going 1,000 miles an hour. So now here I am, and I'm trying to not do that. And it's actually been pretty good. It's been a good week. Except that it's been really hot, but it's been getting cooler. So hopefully I'll be able to spend some more time like outside walking, clearing my head, which is something that I like to do. But yeah, that's kind of all I have to say. I hope to be back with you again soon. I I really enjoyed being on the Shopcast with Kareen and Maggie, which you can see on the Woolly Thistles channel. I'll link the episode in the show notes, or maybe it'll be like up here somewhere. So I'm thinking just like, maybe it's time to just have my friends back on more often, because it's like a fun thing to do is to chat with other people about what they're making, and it's not just me talking at a picture of myself. So that'll be fun. But yeah, it's been good. So I'm happy to be back, and thank you so much for watching. This has been Tiny Desk Knitting with Emma. Bye!